Hello, my name is Dr. Maya Byfield. My business is The Phenomenal STEMist. I'm so excited to be here in Orange County because it's where I live. I live in Apopka, Florida. And I decided to make this business because I saw a need for underrepresented students to be successful in STEM, which stands for science, technology, engineering, math. And the best way I can do that is just provide products for parents to prepare them, whether it's a book or online STEM camps or just video podcasting. My goal is to transform this community, especially those who are underrepresented. And the way to do that is to help parents understand their children's minds and basically develop them at different stages of their lives to be prepared for a successful STEM career. Thank you so much. That's why I'm here. Hey, 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 it's the phenomenal STEMist. Hi, everyone. How are you guys doing? I have my friends on, the great Bryant and the great Howard. Kamoy couldn't be out here this morning, but it's all good. I have the brothers with me. I got the brothers with me. I got the fathers with me. The fathers with me. And today we're talking about what STEM professionals wish every parent knew before their child chooses a career. What a topic. What a topic. What do you wish parents knew? How y'all doing, guys? I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Blessed.
Okay. Bryant?
Highly favored.
Tonight is gonna be tonight. This morning is gonna be funny. This afternoon is gonna be great. Blessed and highly favored. Okay. We're just gonna jump right into it. I know, Brian. I know you have a different background, so I know you're not home, and we're
Oh
gonna.
no, I'm good. I'm
You
good. Yeah, I took care of it. STEM leaders also have to be plumbers.
good.
So
Shout out to skill sets. What do you wish your parents had known before you chose your career? What do you think your parents should have known before before you chose your career? I wish my parents would have known the process of financing education. Like, I wish my mother knew about ways to get scholarships. I wish my mother knew ways to invest in the stock market, to raise funds over time so that I would go to school tuition free. I didn't really come out with much debt, but I think I would know more ways to financially impact myself earlier. Like I know things I know now, I wish I knew at 20. And I think if my mother knew, then I would have known. Yeah. What are you guys, what so really, I it's not really about the STEM information itself, but more so the empowerment through finances. I wish my mom had known, my parents had known. Yeah. What do you guys wish?
I mean, you know, I guess that STEM is an option. Where I'm from, I mean, I'm in a district, so public servants is usually uh, the the main route. Which I mean, I am a public servant for the federal government. But I think, if they had known about all the different scientists outside of, or STEM professionals outside of, George Washington Carver, that probably would have helped in order to at least they could have made me aware earlier on instead of me finding out well after I've already gotten so far into my career about just uh, all the different avenues that STEM could reach into, even in federal work, even in just academia. I only saw George Washington Carver, and then my science teacher, and then college. Those science professors that I begged in order to pass me when they had no reason doing that. So um, I think if they had known earlier, just like how they may have pushed, you got your great orators like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, and you have, inventors like Garrett A. Morgan, who we see his stuff daily with the turn signals. I mean, the signal lights, street lights. If there was just others, if we had known that there was other people, I think that would have given some options about, hey, why not think about this? You don't have to be a rocket scientist, but you can be a botanist. You can, if you like gardening, turn that into something, STEM related, understand why, so that you can, um, learn how to grow uh, in all types of seasons. So if they had known that, I think it would have definitely exposed me a lot earlier than later in life.
Yeah, I love it. Howie, what's up? What do you think? What do you wish your parents knew?
Yeah, I agree. In terms of the financial standpoint, they didn't know. In terms of the field itself, I did have my sister who went before me, um, in doing med tech. The only difference was she stayed locally to go to school, and I went away for college. But I think understanding the financial side of it, um, would have helped them to, I think, put me in the right state of mind in
Yeah.
terms of, um, because I had motivation in terms of the field. I had huge motivation in terms of the field. Like I was like, nah, this is me. This is what I do. But in terms of understanding positioning and posturing, where you need to be, what you need to do, within college, what you need to do, where you're at. Um, and that's, I guess that's more of a, if they knew, then that would be more of a coaching type of thing. Because I know I'm trying to reverse engineer, look at it for myself now, because like for me now, for my kids, and yeah, so listen to this, parents. So for my kids, primarily, it's a coaching thing. Primarily, it's an encouraging and coaching thing, because I know and I understand that different kids, okay, maybe my kids aren't STEM necessarily, right? So I have to listen and I have to observe and I have to look at where they're at. But no matter what their thing is, right? There should be a process that they ought to follow, so
Yeah.
that, for example, so that the principle that, hey, if you do whatever you're doing really, really well, you should not, people should pay you to receive of your services. People should pay you to yeah, to receive of what you have to offer. They should desire for you to be where they are, where they are. So how does that work in a school setting, right? It's like, well, that's why a school will pay you if you are very good academically. They will pay for you to be a part of their institution.
That's right.
They will pay you to represent their institution. So your academic performance becomes now, their institution now becomes a reflection, right?
We
Um,
know that now,
we know that now.
pass that to our
So now,
children.
yeah. So now I tell my kids, hey, do really, really well, and they will pay you to be a part of their institution
That's
in
right.
order to represent them, and that's a principle. That's a principle. So now when you take that and you put that wherever you are, even after you leave the institution and you go into a job, guess what? They will pay you to to perform as a part of their institution, their organization, to represent them. So it's really a coaching thing for me now. Like I'm like, and I didn't understand that back then. I didn't know. I was like, I just want to do science. It's like
Yeah.
I'm just really good at science, so you should have me here because I'm really good at it. And it's like, are you like what? Are you do you even understand how to be a representative? So that kind of thing. It's just that kind of thing. If I don't, that's a knowledge thing. That's an ignorance thing. They didn't fully understand
Yes,
that.
they didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to Brian's point, um, I have a Black Excellence STEM camp, and I literally have tons of and I just can't get it. I can't get parents to buy in. So
So
I'm just like, I wish, like, you wish your parents would have known, but do parents even think they should know? I don't know. Talk to me.
okay, so I'm glad you brought that up. So another thing that I wish they would know is know how to do a little bit of research yourself. You don't have to know everything,
Hmm.
but know enough in order to ask questions, not to question their thinking, but to understand the reasons why. So, as much as parents may understand how to, make ends meet, those pay those bills, the job that they have, and what they needed to learn in order to understand, in order to value what your child is doing or support them, you also have to be willing to learn not all of it, but enough to ask the question why, but preface it that I'm asking you why, not to change your mind, but to understand your thinking. I've done this little bit of research. So you're letting them know I care enough to try to understand what you're, but it may not be clicking, and be transparent enough to say, hey, help me understand how you see it so that I can champion you the best way that I can. But it takes humility as parents in order to say, well, let me do a little bit of research. Why? I'll take this example. My son plays Roblox. And I mean, Roblox can be the bane of parents, these days, because you're like, oh, there's no accountability. They're just running around doing whatever. But I had to start playing some games with him, sat next to him, asking those questions, understanding why he's watching these videos. It's like back in the day when I had Nintendo, I used to subscribe to Nintendo Power in order to try to
Mhm.
get,
The
those
cold.
codes, those inside, fold
Yeah.
out those maps so I know how to go. But kids today, they don't have those resources, so they're using YouTube, they're using the internet, they're scouring information, trying to learn. But as parents, sometimes we can be old school and stuck in our ways. Under where is my Encyclopedia Britannica CD, ROM, or where's the World Book from 1982 that Grandma still has? That'll give you the answers. No, we gotta be open in order to learn, to understand, so that when we do ask them questions, we don't come off as accusatory trying to change their minds,
Right.
but really trying to understand so that we can support. So that's one of the things I wish parents would know, wish my parents would have known. And it's not to say that they couldn't or they didn't, but that would have helped propel, so that, even if I changed my mind, I knew I had a sure foundation of support.
Yeah.
And can I add something to that really quick to your last point there, Maya? Like one of the things my mom really did champion really well is a principle that she did understand was trying to position me as much as possible with folk who did know.
Yeah.
Like so if so a phenomenal like a STEM camp kind of thing, if those things, any type of, so gifted and talented, whatever was offered for us back in in New York City, within our district in the Bronx, there were different academic things that were offered here and there, and that's pretty much all she got wind of. And how did she get wind of it? Through the teachers. She
Ah,
asked what's out there, what can, obviously, a lot of times when your child is gifted and talented, the teachers will say, they'll maybe suggest, but another step that parents need to say, okay, well, you guys say. So once she heard it in, let's say, one class or one school, that okay, that the teachers suggested these things, then she carried that to the next, whatever class or school you end up in. She said, hey, what's out there, what's out there, what's out there. So and this is really important, because then I carried that with me, even when she wasn't with me, let's say in college, and I would talk about the things that are out there,
yeah.
whatever. She would say, well, what's there? What's there? She was carrying the same principle. You need to go check and see. And that's how I would, so that became ingrained in my mind, because that's something she always did. So I was like, oh, maybe I should go and check and see. And that's how I found out, like you mentioned earlier, Brian, that's how I found out in my, in the institution that I was at, you know, about the sciences and government, and about how the food science is so crazy, is such a large industry, but no one knows about it, and so forth, all these types of things. So a lot of times when these principles get embedded, then, or get presented to children, then they'll hold on to it and carry it on.
All right, just make sure that you talk to the teacher. Hold on, I gotta say this. Make sure you talk to the teachers only during their official teaching time. When it's summer, they don't want to talk to you.
Yeah, that
That
may be
sound
the
that
case.
sound like you're talking to me. That's what
No,
listen, when I'm
no.
on vacation. Listen, okay, guys, wait a second. I'm doing something while I'm on vacation. I'm doing phenomenal STEMist, but just to let you know that the inside joke, y'all, I'm on vacation, and Brian asked me how's school coming along, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, right? But you
I'm
gave me a
married to a
great
teacher.
idea. You gave me a great idea, Howard. I need to reach out to the schools and let the schools know I have this, so that parents can, because parents are asking teachers. They may not see me to provide, right, but they're asking teachers, and if the teachers know about me, then they can say. So that's what I need to
And
start.
there's a little bit more, validation in that as well.
Yeah, 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 for sure. All right, next question. What do parents often misunderstand about what it takes to succeed in STEM? I think,
Failure.
go ahead.
Failure. Your
Yeah,
child has to. Your child has to. That's one of the greatest learning lessons, is finding out that this way didn't work, and it causes you to think outside of the box. I think a lot of parents, because we talk about helicopter parenting, where they are sometimes even standing in the gap protecting their kids from the consequences, but those consequences are a learner. So these parents need to uh, accept that failure is a that failing um, is an option, and to champion them to not give up
yeah.
instead of blocking, so the child doesn't understand that that you can persevere through rough times. I mean, there's plenty of stories of people who didn't get it the first time around, and it might have taken 47 trials or 50 trials or 100 trials in order to get something through. You got to allow your kids in order to struggle.
That is one of the biggest misconceptions about STEM, is that only smart people make it, and and they never get anything less than A's. And so if you have less than A's, or you're failed something, then you're not cut out for STEM. And that's hyper activated, in my opinion, in people of color. But I was just at Neo City. Neo City is this new development in Florida that is promoting semiconductors in the Central Florida area. And I asked, what would you want the community to know? And they said, the educational community, specifically, they said, give them space to do a whole bunch of research and fail, because they don't even know what's going on in the building of AI and building of the semiconductors. They're trying to find out what goes wrong so that they can learn from it. So there's so and when I was in grad school, after you make all the great grades, and I'm not saying there's not a role for great grades. I'm not saying that. But even after you make all the great grades, in grad school, it doesn't matter how well you do in school. Matter of fact, they cut out the grade concept. It was pass fail for those classes. Because there was, once you get into the laboratory, it's nothing but failure. Getting a PhD was all about endurance through failed experiments, hypothesizing, thinking it's something, and finding out it's not. Things not working. That's what science is all about. That technology is about breaking things and fixing them to see how things work. Technology and engineering. So I think I am in so much agreement with you. For me, I feel they misunderstand the context of, and it's kind of in line with what you're saying, Ryan, that studying is enough. That's all my parents really cared about was, are you doing your homework? Are you studying? They had no idea about internships. They had no idea about finance. They had no, right? They're immigrants in this country coming for the first time from Jamaica to America. They're all about survival, and what they know is study your book. And while that is a critical foundation, it is not enough. What about you, Howard? What do you think your parents misunderstood?
Um, I don't. It wasn't something that I experienced necessarily in my household. My household is very big on education.
Yeah,
Um, and once they saw that I was really interested in STEM, they just supported me all the way, as much as they could with what they knew.
absolutely.
So it would that part again, that goes to the field itself, right, and the importance of it or the value of it. They were with me on that,
Mm,
lockstep, right. But here's the thing, the additional thing that I've learned, that I'm teaching my kids about, the beauty of STEM, right, and the value of STEM, which is that it's a strong thinking exercise. The STEM field, the STEM, it's like, okay, well, let me simplify it. So why do I have to do calculus, right? Why do I have to do math? Why do I have to do this if that's not what I may be doing in this is the proverbial question that everybody
real
asks, right?
world,
Like, if I'm
real
not going to
world.
be doing that in the world, right? So
Yeah,
why do they do that? Why do they give me that in school, right? Because it's a very strong thinking exercise that exercises the brain,
that's right.
and you have the capacity to do it, right? And so it's problem solving skills.
Hmm.
Do you know, like, okay, so I know because I've seen it. One of my peers that I graduated with, not that I went to high school with, we graduated at the same time from college. She was a physics guru. She did really, really well in math, and science, and then ultimately in physics in college. And it's like very high level physics. She ended up getting a position with a consulting firm out of undergrad, with a consulting firm that had nothing to do with math and science.
Right. And probably
They
a
they
really
were
great paying job.
they were they were recruiting. They were recruit out, because when she explained this to me, I was like,
Think,
what? Because I'm we in undergrad. We 22.
yeah,
And she's explaining to me that this particular organization selects maybe six, because she went through the whole interview process and everything. This organization selects about 6 people, if I'm remembering correctly, just like how many years ago. It selects about 6, 7 people from around the country, 6, 7 undergrads. It's part of their recruiting process. 6, 7 undergrads who have high level of problem solving skills.
that's right. Critical
So,
thinking,
so
problem solving.
critical thinking, problem solving skills.
That's right.
So she ended up. So she applied. She applied to it because of that's what they were asking for. And then as she went through the interview process and got whittled down, whittled down, whittled down, and she was the only one from her school, her institution that made it out of the interview process and ended up getting the job.
Wow.
Had nothing to do with all that. And I mean, she spent countless nights. I remember like just going through headaches and the toughness of it. But it was something. It was challenging for her, and she enjoyed the challenge of it.
Mm.
And I was like, I was biosciences, and she was doing physics sciences. I just love to hear the stuff that she was just like, yeah, our exam is like, three problems, and it's gonna take
Right.
like 3 hours.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you're actually smart. I'm just like, I'm
And
going
they're
through
like, you gotta go down, and you can't miss at any point. You gotta go down the line, show your
right
work,
strategy all the way through.
strategy. You're like, what?
So obviously what I'm saying is there's levels to this, right? I'm trying to get parents to understand there's levels to this, obviously, but the importance of it is this critical thinking aspect that you're actually developing. We're not born with it, like, you know what I mean? We're born with the capacity, but you have to go through the exercises to develop that. And that is if your kid, sort of enjoys it, kind of, loves the challenge of it to a certain point, encourage that, let them go through the process. If it hurts a bit, let them go through the process as needed for whatever it is that they, want to, whether they want to be if they want to be an astrophysicist, that's, but if not, and they just want to become a nurse, they just want to become, go through the process. It's a good pain, because you're going to need it later on in life when you have to strategize just through life.
Yeah, yeah. How can parents support their children's STEM interests without choosing the career for them? And my mother was awesome with that. Like um, my parents, my mother was in public health. She was a public health professional. Her background is psychology and counseling. My father was an educator. He got a degree in elementary education. So my grandmother, who taught me to read, was an educator and a nurse. They just loved education. They loved education. And my mother's family, especially, there were about 7 physicians in the family, and she wasn't one of them.
Mm.
And so, but her brother is. So there's like literally every kid. My grandmother is a sibling of 6, and every kid, pretty much, there's a physician come through the line. And now they're going to the next generation. Now my uncle never gave me any pressure, but my cousin, my grandmother's sister's son, was like, you got to be an educator. You got to be a physician. You got to be a physician. So now we're moving into the next generation, because that's what they did as newly immigrants. New immigrants in America, they're all about, there's only few positions that you can excel: doctor, lawyer. And that's what they were passing down to me. But my mother did not want to be in STEM. She could not, like, the only STEM she knew of was medicine and nursing. That's what I'm saying. They were closed minded. But my mother broke out the mold. She's like, I don't like blood. And the only thing that's STEM for me is physician and nurse, or nursing, and I don't like blood. So I'm not doing it. I'm going to go into counseling and social work. So therefore, she never put the pressure on me. However, she always showed me her family. She always said, your uncle is a physician, your aunt is a nurse, your cousin is a lawyer, your other cousin is a physician, your other cousin is a physician. Like, and we would come together, and I would be immersed with highly educated people. So it was nothing to know that I was going to college. It's like there's not a choice of whether or not I was going to college, but she gave me an option as to what I would do. And my grandmother taught me science. Like she taught me the love for science. She literally taught me how to plant seeds and see it grow over time, put it in the sunlight. I learned photosynthesis. That was my first scientific word. I was very young. I was dissecting flowers. She was teaching me how to dissect flowers. So she put the love of science in me. They indoctrinated me with higher education. Like that's a must. But they let me choose because I had all the information. I had a lot of information to choose from. So I think that's how parents you can support your kid by giving them all the information as much as you have, and put role models in front of them. And if you don't have role models in your family, find them in your church. That's the beautiful thing about the Black church. You have people from all persuasions, all demographics in one church on a Sunday or a Saturday morning. So that's what I would say. What do you guys? What do you think parents can do to support their kids, um, but without forcing them to choose STEM?
I mean, kind of like you said, they just have to be, I mean, open. I think during our time, community was big, and I'm glad that you mentioned, community, church. You had very a lot of different avenues, but nowadays parents are very closed off.
I know.
They won't allow somebody to. They're thinking of that people are out only to correct their children, and then they feel some type of way because if someone has to correct, then you're saying I'm not a good parent. No, again, if we tune our minds to think um, on a larger scale, that person is trying to pour into because you got to care about someone to stop them from doing something bad or something. And that was usually the opening gateway of building trust, of really understanding who that person was. And you're like, oh, this person's a scientist. Maybe I should link my child if my child wants to go in that direction, or if they're in
Yeah.
the music, link that person. But parents need to get out of their own ways. I
Yeah.
mean, a lot of it is that a parent wants to be the end all, be all, and the only source of for their children, and that's not how they got to where they are. And yeah, they might have had some bad experiences, but just like we don't want, say a black person being pulled over with a gun, representing all of us, nor should that one person that parent might have had a run-in with be the spokesperson for the rest of the community. Try to just compartmentalize it, keep it into just that person, and still be open because your child is going to need more help than you can provide. If it was only going to be you, then there would be no one else in the world
In the
but
world.
you.
That's right. Love it.
Realize it. So let's get out of our own ways. That's the parents, and just be open to um, resources coming from other areas. We ask God to send us help. He sends it. We got to be ready to receive it, and be open that it may not come in the way that we would want it to come, because that's about control.
Yeah.
And just let go, and just we always say let go, let God. Just get out of the way. Your child still has a lot of life in front of them. So if it's with STEM, you know, connect them with somebody. Be open to it. If it's with something else, connect them with somebody. Don't don't limit your child based on your own limitations.
Yeah. Love it. Speaking of which, I think it's so critical that um, you have resources related to STEM. So I have this QR code. It's a toolkit. I have a chat bot which will help your kids learn what they can do from any age in STEM. I have a strengths test I love this assessment that really can learn. Your child can learn about what they're gifted in science, technology, engineering, and math.
We are like
And
entrenched in, right?
Sorry.
are you watching something?
No, it was something my wife had up,
It's
and
so good.
You got to own that one. She's not here, man. Come
See, you can't be blaming your wife.
on.
it's
Yeah.
absolutely her. It's absolutely.
Yeah. Click this QR code. You will be able to find your children's STEM gifts, and there's a collection of careers, and I'm talking about AI relevant STEM careers for the future. From I'm not going to even go into all the types of careers I have on this, and it's free of charge. It's a free resource. Click this link and show your children what they can be in the next 10, 15 years. Yeah. Howard.
Yeah. So most kids who are interested in STEM have a mind that's curious regarding STEM. A lot of times it'll be obvious. A lot of times they'll really be interested in you'll know, like I think they had children's story at church this weekend, right? And long story short, talking about God's creation and how much acknowledging how much we don't know about God's creation, right? So the Sabbath school teacher and how much we don't know, right? And how much and why there actually was a STEM bend to it, because it was saying there was so much that we don't know, and how much we ought to study it because God has created these things. Well, what things did the teacher bring? They brought Burmese pythons. There were small ones. There were small ones. Not birth. Is that the one that's in Florida? That the Burmese pythons that's
I
taken
don't
over?
know.
But anyway, it was pet pythons, right?
Pet snakes.
Pet snakes.
Church.
I gotta say pythons because it was the nice huge ones, right?
Oh my God.
They were like the smaller type, right? And so whipped them out of the bag. There were the kids that scattered, and then the kids like
ooh,
one of mine actually, who was like, can I hold it? Can I hold it? Can I hold it?
The youngest?
Yeah, the youngest. Can I hold it? He was right up front. They scattered, and he was just like, give it to me. Let me hold it. So quick story. And I said, man, the Lord gave me this. This is for this podcast today. So I went to bring my vehicle to be detailed this week, and brought it to the dealership. And they said, yeah, it's going to be about 4 hours or so, full detail inside and out. And one of the young men he let me know the position was porter. He was a porter in the service department. So they had him shuttle me home. So from the dealership was about a 40-mile ride. So I'm riding with this young man, and it was an awesome coaching moment. And so I said, man, we got 40 minutes. I said, so I said, how you want to do this? What we want to talk about? I was joking with him. And he was like, yeah, it's a long ride, So I was like, we had a conversation and everything, and found out that he was, many times a summer job, and what he's actually studying has nothing to do with what he's doing at work. So he's studying architecture, and a young Latino gentleman. And I said, so he started telling me, he's like, man, he was like, in one comment, he said, I don't know, man. He's like, you ever pass by a building and you're just like in awe of it, and you're like, how did they build that? How did they build that? Everything. And I said, nope.
Nope.
And So, and
Oh,
he almost like, I almost wanted to say to him, keep your eyes on the road, keep driving, because he's like, he wanted to look over me like, no, you never had. And I said, no. And I said, and I'm glad you said that to me. I said, so, and then I started to explain to him how, um, uh, for people who are really into stuff, it's okay.
that's right.
It's okay. When you're really geeked out about something, and that's how you know that's your thing. I'm
That's
letting
what
you
you
know
do.
when I say nope, I'm doing that on. I said I'm joking with you, but I'm doing that on purpose because I want to show you that if most people, when whatever you're really into and you're like geeked out about it like that, most other people are not.
Right.
They're not. But what does that tell you? That
It's
makes you
you.
special.
Yeah.
That makes you special. The fact that you see that, when you see that build, I said, no, I do. I see what you're saying. I said, especially like, really beautiful buildings that to me, when it looks like a work of art, like that really stands out to me. It is interesting to me. But I just want to show you that when that's your thing, because you feel that way about it, that's your thing. And I was explaining to him how that's a challenge when it comes to parenting, because with parenting, a lot of times, if we're sometimes we don't, and I was telling it to him, like, as you grow and as you get older, right, and you may see this even with your own kids, when you there's some things that your kids may really really hone in on, and because it's not your interest, you may kill their dream,
Yeah.
because you may be like, nope, no, I don't, not really, bro. Sorry, but could you please take out this trash? You know what I mean? Like, and not realizing, or did you do your basketball yet? Did you do your soccer yet? Did you?
Right.
And they're like mesmerized by this anthill.
Right.
I use that example because that's how I was. I'd sit looking at an anthill for like an hour. I could do that. Like, and so I realized that with teaching and with supporting, encouraging children, young people, observe them, listen to them, and see what they're interested in, and see what's interesting them, and then try to support. This is what we've been talking about so far. We've been saying support them in what it is that they really love, and especially if it's things that that can heal the world, things that are, and they may be that one individual who has the answers to the world's problems, but you got to encourage that. So I continue to speak to my man there, my driver, on the way to my house, and just saying, letting him know that, yeah, you're doing something awesome here, just stay with it.
Yeah. What experiences must a child have before deciding whether a STEM career is for them? What experiences should they have? I think a STEM career is for everyone. Now I'm prefacing it with what Howard just said, where different people are different. Different people have different things, different gifts, different interests. But in my opinion, STEM is in every field. It's in every field. Bryant was not a STEM major. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's in every there's role. Science is this. What is science? Science means the search for knowledge. That's what science means. Okay? It's not limited to biology and physics and chemistry. It is the search for knowledge. So what I think a student should have, they should have a strong, every child should have a strong reading skill. Every child, in my opinion. Sometimes we say, oh, this person is not a reader. I feel like every child should know how to read. It is a part of our humanity. God created us different than animals by having our left brains different. We have a center for language, a center for language development and reading, and speech. It's different than animals, and every human has it. Therefore, every human must utilize it. So, number one, all children should learn how to read. It's my really biggest passion, especially now where we're learning more and more children, more and more adults, more and more teenagers cannot read. So, what must they have? Reading. They have to have a strong, solid mathematical skill set, basic math skill set. If they can, they must, in my opinion, be in algebra. If they cannot be, if they cannot be in algebra, then they transition to another field. But algebra is the gatekeeper. Algebra is the gatekeeper now in these streets to STEM. Everybody, even Bryant took algebra, guys. Don't. You could not have graduated college. Wait, what's that for mean? What's
Four
for?
times that I took it. That's what you think I'm substituting. I like numbers. I don't like trying to solve for X or Y or all these other, like, why not just give me the numbers? We use numbers. You
I
want a
love
paycheck where
this.
you got to decipher it? No, you
I
want numbers
love
on your check.
this. Bryant is
Algebra.
a success. Bryant is a successful federal professional. He had to pass algebra. He didn't pass it the first time, the second time, the third time.
Maybe
Perseverance.
not even the fourth
Had
time.
huh?
Probably not even the fourth time. That teacher probably saw that it was graduation. He was like, "Well, I'm gonna bump this up to a D." I was like, "I'll take it. I'll take it."
I'm talking about in college.
I am talking about college. You think I like 5 years at Oakwood? No. Oh,
Listen, you hear me? You hear what he said? It's the gatekeeper. But I don't care how much time you have to take it. You take it and you pass it so that you can be successful in STEM, right? So, do you see the struggle that he had though? Get them early. I'm sorry, Brian. Am I embarrassing you? I'm assuming you had a struggle because it took you 4 times. You
wow.
you the one listen. You the one who
Hey,
put your business out here.
hey. Some of those times I took a W, a withdrawal, because
Oh,
I couldn't get. I didn't see. I was used to getting A's and B's. When I
ah,
saw D and F, I was like, those are letters in my name. The D is, but not the F. So I can't do that. So I was like, I'll just kick the can down the road. I will say
bro.
this: as we get older,
Hmm.
some of us, our minds begin to close off a little bit more. So if
Yeah,
you can pass it earlier on,
Yeah.
a C is a passing grade. You
that's
bump up
right.
everything else. Just do your best. That's what I'll say.
Listen, I am in agreement. But here's the critical piece, parents. You have to pass it.
Yeah.
And so get those kids in it as early as possible. I'm sorry, I'm just sneezing. Get those kids in algebra as early as possible. Those two things, reading and at least algebra, is critical. It is the gatekeeper, in my opinion. Howie, you want to? What do you think?
Yeah, I would, man. I didn't think that deeply on it, but that's what it is really. And I grew up with that. 'Cause my grandmother's a teacher, and she always said that, and she continues to say it. That we, continues to tell us that that's what we need to instill in our kids and her great grands.
Yeah,
That just get them to read, just get them to read, just get them to read. And but the philosophical aspect of it is heavy because it's yeah, so the pursuit of knowledge, right, the pursuit of understanding, how else but through reading is very important to obtain information. So even if you can't challenge your brain unless you receive information on how to apply something, right? So you must receive the information. If this is the number one way in which I guess next to verbal, if you can read what read communicate as a human being through reading. If I say, hey, if they give you and say, here, take this, read through it, and then do this, you got to be able to do that.
Yeah.
You got to be able to do that. Like, you know what I mean? I mean, and you may be able to, get some instruction from someone, modeling from someone, but in a lot of instances, there's so much more that you can do when you get some information in your hand and you can read it and figure something out on your own, apply it and figure it out on your own. Then the next thing, algebra, is like, that's the pursuit of life. That's life.
It's
The
like,
pursuit of the unknown.
yeah.
That's what it is. It's figuring out the unknown, deductive reasoning.
Mm-hmm.
You have all this information over here, but you're missing this over here. But if you look at all the information you have over here, you be able to make a really good, conclusion as to what's missing over here. And that's life. That's life. The pursuit of the unknown. That's what Paul talks about. The unknown God.
Oh God.
So I'm here. I'm agreement with you on that. No
Listen,
doubt.
knowing algebra is why I'm averaging 12% in the stock market. Shout out to algebra. Listen, it's percentages. People want to. They say I want to know financial literacy, but don't want to know algebra. Like it's percentages. It is making predictions off of percent change. It's everyday life. And unfortunately, I feel like we punish our children for failing at it or for not knowing it quickly, and we emotionally stop our children from liking math and science, and try to and or we them ourselves, parents themselves, since they had a struggle with math and science, stop their kids from learning it because they say, I'm not a math person, it's not for me. And it's a pride thing for some, like, and I'm successful anyway. I'm successful and I didn't even have to know it. So it's like a belittling of it. You don't need it to be successful because I became successful without it. So you don't need it. And it's not really about a need. It's not about a need for the person. It's about a need for the community. There needs to be more STEM professionals in our community. We need them. They may not need it, but we need more mathematicians in our community, statisticians in our community, physicians in our community. We need more. Why do you think the disparities are so strong in the health community? And when they say when a patient has a Black physician, they're more likely to reach their health outcomes. Well, then we need more Black physicians. When there are environmental scientists, I was just watching a documentary on Flint, Michigan. When they'll corrupt our communities, our community's environment, if there are no environmental scientists in our community that can recognize what's happening. We need them. They may not need math, but math needs them. Communities needs more. Our community needs them. I went on a soapbox, guys. I'm so passionate about it.
It's a knowledge gap.
Yeah.
And where you have a knowledge gap in any organization, or the idea is to fill that,
Yeah.
so that the organization can thrive, and especially where there's a need. So if the need has been established, we need to fill a knowledge gap.
Yeah.
And filling a knowledge gap is not hard, right? Because like, who would say filling a knowledge gap is impossible? Like, no one would say that. What? Filling a
Okay.
knowledge gap impossible? There's
I'm not.
always and
I'm not gonna say
one second, real
impossible,
quick,
but I
right?
will say okay.
Real say real quick, right? If all I need to do is find someone who has the knowledge and put them in that position, who has if all I need to do is find someone who has that knowledge and put them in that position, then that's why I mean it's not impossible. It's something that you know what I mean. So, but what we're doing is we're saying, and that's not for us. And it's
Right.
like, what? Like, no, knowledge is for human beings. That
Yeah.
human beings receive knowledge, process it, and make their lives better. Like that's what we do. So there's not this is not an intrinsic, lack of something. It's just we telling ourselves a lie.
We telling ourselves a lie. Brian, you were talking about.
I was saying that while it may not, we know it's not impossible. It feels improbable because a lot of the areas that we're saying needs this information, are we as professionals willing to go into those areas and show ourselves? See, there's one, I had this conversation on another podcast, and I talked about Florida. Y'all are in Florida. The top four of the top 10 football teams in the country are in Florida.
Mhm.
Most of them are in the Miami area. These kids only know
Yeah.
certain things that would get them out of their struggle situation.
Yeah.
Their parents only believe that there are certain things to get them out of their struggle situation. All of us who had someone pour into us, who got out, who looked at the averages and said, well, there's only X amount of NBA players. Most teams can carry 12 active, 15 non-football teams, or I think 52. Yeah, you can have a whole bunch of people on the practice squad, but success, we've changed success to just being about financial gain instead of success being knowledge. And then when we do achieve a certain level of success, we are hesitant to go back because those without or who do not have access to those successes, they're surviving the best way that they can,
Mm.
utilizing skill sets that their parents have, grandparents, other their community has, which is very limited. And it comes off as, with crime, people only steal because they don't have. Now, some majority steal because they don't have or lack of. There's some that just do it just because it feels nice to them. We need to be willing as professionals to go in, and it doesn't have to be on a grand scale. Stop
Right.
thinking it's grand scale. It might be if we're able to get one person out, that's one less person that the community has a hold on, because that mind, I think when children are born, they are born without fear, without limitations. As they grow, the world puts fear and limitations on them. And the first world is their parents. And if their parents are limited, they're going to put their own fear and their own limitations.
Yeah.
We've got to be willing to not fight against the parents, fight alongside, and then sometimes reach a little bit further because we know, and it's not that we're better than anyone. I think all of us, if we had someone switch places with us, they
Yeah.
will be thriving as we're thriving. I want to
Yeah.
make sure people understand that. But
Yeah.
we've got to be willing to humble ourselves and reach back and not be concerned about if it's on a grand scale, just even if it's just the influence of one. Those songs we used to sing, it only takes a spark to get a fire going. That's not just about, passing on the good news. It's also opening doors, having opportunities to let this person know, okay, yeah, sports can be one thing, but the percentages, the averages says that I can be successful in this too. If there's limited people of color in real farming,
Mm-hmm.
in agricultural sciences. They say you can be successful in that. You can be the Michael Jordan or the LeBron James of basketball, but you can do it now in agricultural sciences.
Yeah.
If it's about, we got to build up those stories like Vivian Thomas, where he
Yeah.
started out small, he had his work his way up. No one gets it from day one,
Yeah.
and we've got to encourage our parents We got to remind them that nobody, only person that started day one on top was God. And he's not even a person. That's it. Everyone else had to either get some type of handout, help, even their great, I mean, Rockefeller, somebody had to start off before they got it. Elon Musk, his father started and he was able to leverage, money and help and support. We've got to again just be willing, as I circle back, just be willing to recognize that it, even though we keep saying it's not impossible, which it isn't, for those in the communities that we're talking to, that parents we're trying to, that it's improbable until we show them, are willing to sit with them.
Yeah, so true. So true. You got to find a way to sit with them, to your point.
Yeah,
You got to
on
sit
their level.
on their level. Yeah.
Stop trying to bring them up. They'll come up by in time. You got to be willing to go down. That
Yeah.
ladder
Yeah.
goes up and down.
Yeah. 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 All right, last question. If you could give parents one piece of advice about preparing their child for a STEM future, what would it be? One piece of advice. If you were to sit with a parent right now, what would you tell them? I got to
It's
think.
not about you. It is
Okay.
about your child. You have lived your life, and just as you wanted back when you were their age to have choice, have freedom of choice, you've got to give them freedom of choice. Be there if they stumble. Help them when they fall, but don't stop them from experiencing life, because if they can't get it at a small scale, when they get older and it definitely gets bigger, they won't be as resilient as you would have wanted them to be, because you interceded way too early, way too soon, and way too often.
Hmm. Wow. Howard, I'll go last.
Yeah, I'd say if you want to maximize your child's potential and you feel that, especially according to the responsibility that you know that you have, if you want to maximize their potential, you want to expose them to, just like how I think some people expose them to the different sports to see what it is that they really enjoy. You really want to support them in their academic achievement and expose them to different aspects of academics and see what it is that they really lean into, just like you may do with the sports, really lean into the things that they gravitate towards, that they really enjoy and want to do, and just pour into those areas. If you want to maximize, like Bryant said, focus on where what floats their boat.
Yeah, and I would tell them to sign up to Phenomenal STEMist Toolkit. I really would. That's being honest. That's the first thing I do for all my parents. I tell them, let's go to www.tenyearme.me/toolkit, or this QR code, and have your child fill out the STEM gifts assessment. Find out who they are, what they like first, what they are gifted in. I really believe from the womb our children have been gifted with something by God to do a good purpose in life. Find out what that is early, right? And then show them through this toolkit, show them the possibilities in STEM. Once they know who they are, what possibilities in STEM are attached to people like them. That's what I would do. Guys, it's been an awesome conversation as usual. I really appreciate you coming on with me today to really help parents, know what they should do to support their kids in STEM. I'm the phenomenal STEMist, and so are they. Good evening, everybody. Wave to the camera.